Hey folks, it's Blake Butler again, Executive Director of the North Carolina Industrial Hemp Association. And we're going to continue with our interviews here in our webinar plant. And we're very pleased to have Brad Martin, co-owner of Green River Botanicals, and he is an NCIHA member and a proud member for many years. And we want to really drill down for some of those first year planters that might just be starting a greenhouse grow, an indoor grow, some of the things to look for, some of the tips from some of our seasoned growers that have been in the industry for a few years. So Brad, thanks so much for spending some time with us today.
Yeah, no problem. Glad to be here.
So Brad, let's just start from the basics. You've been approved for your license and you've decided to grow hemp indoors. A lot of the questions that I'm getting from some of these first-time growers is, in my opinion, and I really want to pass that to you because I'm not a grower, seeds or clones in the beginning, and what is really, in your opinion, the most efficient way to approach it in that first year as you start to scale up but start small?
So the way we approached it was, there wasn't a lot of seed available when we first started. So we started with a couple of flats of clones that I bought from somebody down east in the state. And from that, we made mothers out of those plants and cloned from that. So our first year, and most of those plants went into the field. So we did clone. This year, and last year we also did clones. And we switched up, varieties that we had. This year we are going to do both seed and clones because the seed is now available and there are some, good genetics. We're actually growing some CBG this year also.
Nice.
And, I guess the growing from seeds, you have feminized, so you're going to have to go out, in the field after you get it planted or indoor, wherever you are, and look for males. I mean, there's always going to be a couple popping up here and there. And with cloning, it depends. We, like I had told you, we're certified organic, so we've been, having to play around with what we can do with rooting. So that's been a little bit of a struggle for us, but beginning, we just seem with our clones, we get a lot better. They're more uniform, because we are able to, take cuttings and grow them on, from the beginning, essentially.
So Brad, let's talk about this. Let's talk about some of those mistakes you made in the first year. If you can be open about that, because I know you've corrected them a bit. I love it when growers just, will share some of the things for others to watch out for. And one of the things that I've always heard is, hey, you don't have to worry about pest management and some other things we're growing indoors. And once I drilled down and talked to you guys, that is absolutely not the truth. So, but anything you could share there that first year as you talk about, as you guys started with the clones, now moving to other things, could you share some of those mistakes you wish you would have corrected immediately?
There was a couple of different things. We started a lot of the clones under lights with heat mats. We have a plant nursery, so we've always grown seed and cuttings a certain way. So we kind of went from that, the schedule that we were using to do that, and we were losing a lot of things. We were finding that the roots, everything was getting too hot with the heat. Right. And we were doing that indoors. And then we would, once we got everything rooted, we would move out to the greenhouse. So there were some, trying to find out what would really work, what temperature had to be. And we did all kinds of different trials. We would pot up, and stick directly into flats and put them in the greenhouse and see how that would do. We did some, again, under lights, indoor. With heat, without heat, and just, kind of finding what actually worked for us to get, a good root system.
And one of the things that surprised some of our outdoor growers, Brad, for those that bought clones from those indoor facilities and those babies were raised under optimal conditions, and you throw them outdoors and they
throw them outdoors
immediately. They're like, hey, what happened to this beautiful, wonderful environment we had before? And all of a sudden I'm out here with no
Yeah,
other nature.
like fending for myself. Yeah.
Mhm.
And
But
that
it is
and that kind
important
of
to match
thing.
that, right? It is important to match and look at the way those clones were raised and match that in your indoor facility.
And move it and exactly, and that's kind of, and that was, moving it into the greenhouse and having it kind of grow under natural light. And then we would keep, just regular incandescent light bulbs on them overnight, just to keep them out of flower.
Right.
I mean, that's
What sort of pests did you see show up? And because you're outside of the Asheville area, we're both in the Asheville area right now, but
yeah.
what sort of pests did you show up that might have surprised you? Like, wow, how in the world did they get in here?
Mainly the only problem we've really had with the greenhouse grows are aphids.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, and I don't know if that's coming from some of the nursery crops, but those guys love, nice new tender growth, and they will go right for it.
And when do they show up in the cycle, Brad? As far as the plant?
It really depends. I mean, like so far it depends on the weather essentially, when it starts to warm up. Like this year, this week we have seen many just start popping up. One day they're not there, the next day they're everywhere.
Right.
They just reproduce so fast. So it's, trying to keep them down to a manageable level. We use, the sticky traps that we put all throughout the crop, so we can walk through every day and scout for different insects, and just get, find that low range and try to keep them there.
Mm-hmm.
And that probably insect wise was the largest problem.
Now, do you see them showing up again? I mean, every year, or
they usually come back. They somehow make it through the winter in the greenhouses, or even out in the cold frames where our nursery plants are. As soon as the new growth starts, they'll show up. A week or two later. It's they know.
So, Brad, when you do start out, how important is scale? And when you really crunch those numbers, because I mean, I was kind of envisioning as you were talking, as you started, but I mean, it was important to say, guys, I mean, we really got to be realistic here. How many plants we put in the greenhouse, and obviously what we put in here majority of it needs to have a home so we can keep on going.
Exactly. And that was, I mean, your acreage, you figure out how many plants you want, but, and we've kind of just scaled up slowly, because the first year we did not have an outlet. We didn't know where we were going to sell. So we were like, well, let's try, we started low with maybe 1,200 plants. That was our goal, not to try to push that anymore, and just, and see how that whole process went for that first year, until we could kind of dial in, all the different things that came up, septorium leaf spot during the year, or, caterpillars, getting in there, just whatever. So for us, it was a good idea to kind of just start small until we kind of realized, these are the things we need to do to make it work.
And you've turned what you've done in the greenhouses into a product line, the Green River Botanicals product line, which is out there in a lot of stores. You got to be proud of that, putting all your hard work into a product.
Yeah, it's good. It's it has been a lot of work, and it's nice to have a product out there. And I love the fact that we're growing medicine for people, and having those people call back and say, this really works for me. This is something that nothing else works. It doesn't get any better than that.
I totally agree. I told someone in an earlier interview that our product should be on the front line during a pandemic or anything where people are stressed out every morning and going through anxiety, and that there is a choice, and you can use the plant instead of the pill or pills. So exactly. It's one of those things that I think we have an opportunity, Brad, to really bring some new credibility to what we're doing, tell our story, like you were just able to tell people how you developed your business from the greenhouse to today. And so moving forward, and knowing that you took those small steps and where you are today, any advice and for anybody that's getting into the hemp industry right now, because as we're getting ready to probably approve a couple of growers tomorrow, Friday, and a couple or 100 growers. I said a couple of growers, 100 growers on Friday. So there's a lot of people getting ready to go right into the business.
Yeah. And I think, in like you have expressed plenty of times, I think having an outlet, having a buyer, or at least an idea of, how you can sell your product, at least, have a plan. I had, being in Western North Carolina, I know a lot of growers, farther west from us that, we've all talked together and trying to help each other out. And a lot of those guys, started last year and then contacted me saying, hey, I don't know what to do with all this. So, and it's just at least, thinking ahead and trying to, get yourself set that, all right, once I get this dried and ready to go processed, I have someone to buy it. Or in our case, we ended up starting a brand. So,
and a good one that it is. We're real proud of it and happy with what you and Sarah and the rest of the crew at Green River Botanicals is doing. And, folks, as we talk, and you can look at where Brad is online on his online store at greenriverbotanicals.com and just get an understanding of this evolution from that greenhouse to product line. And it's real important that we keep a lot of this going. Even as we mentioned before, in a time where there's a lot of people that are wondering what happens next, we can guarantee, as two of us sit here today, that CBD has helped both of us. And, it's just real valuable to get that message out. So we're really charged with educating the public again, Brad, what our products can do for them.
Exactly. And that's, I had a customer in here buying plants for the nursery and complaining about his knee problems. I was like, maybe try this salve and see how, see how that works for you, And then, they're like, well, I've looked at stuff online or, and I just don't really know. And I think that's the biggest part of it, is trying to educate people what we can actually do with it.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate everything you're doing and what you've done for the community and your company. And thanks so much for spending some time with me today. Very valuable information, good tips for those first-time greenhouse growers. And just remember one thing, folks, we're wide open as an industry and we do share information. We want everybody to be successful as we build this supply chain. And I appreciate you doing that this afternoon, Brad.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, and for all that you've done for the industry across this state. It's been, it's great.
Well, thanks. As you know, I want to be down there in Raleigh right now, engaging everybody face to face, but we are gonna just stick to our messaging. And I'm glad that you stressed the educational piece, like so many of our other speakers are doing. We're really charged with getting in there and getting some new credibility. So I'm glad we're all going to do it together. So thanks a lot for your time, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you, Blake. You guys take care and stay safe.
All right. Thanks, Brad.